I remember the day I signed up for the high school class play. It was one of those moments where you think, why not? How bad could it be? Spoiler alert, it could be very bad. I was a freshman, wide-eyed and naive, convinced that I was the next big thing in theater. I had seen my fair share of Broadway shows on YouTube, and I thought, if they can do it, so can I. Little did I know the only thing I was qualified to do was make a fool of myself in front of a crowd. The play was a classic, some Shakespearean tragedy that I had only skimmed the plot of in the hopes of sounding cultured. I was cast as the lead, which seemed like a great honor until I realized that meant I had to learn actual lines. I had no idea what I was doing. I thought memorizing lines would be like cramming for a math test. Just read it a few times, and voila, you're a Shakespearean genius. Instead, I found myself standing in front of the mirror, trying to channel my inner Hamlet while simultaneously wondering if I could pull off the brooding look without looking constipated. Rehearsals were a whirlwind of chaos. Picture a group of teenagers, all trying to take their craft seriously, but also trying to figure out if they'd rather be at the mall or scrolling through TikTok. There was the girl who took it way too seriously, practicing her soliloquies like she was auditioning for the Royal Shakespeare Company. And then there was me, who was just trying to remember the difference between to be and to not be. I swear, I spent more time worrying about my costume than my lines. I mean, how do you convincingly portray a tortured prince when your costume looks like it was borrowed from a 90s garage sale? The big night arrived with all the pomp and circumstance of a royal wedding, minus the horses and the tiaras, of course. I walked onto that stage, heart racing, palms sweaty, and immediately forgot my first line. I stood there, staring at the audience like a deer caught in headlights, while my mind went completely blank. I could feel the judgment radiating from the front row, where my parents sat, likely questioning their decision to raise me. Is this what we've come to? They probably thought. We paid for acting classes, and this is what we get? Finally, I managed to stumble through my lines, but not without a few hiccups. I accidentally called my love interest by the wrong name. Let's just say Juliet became Judy, and the look of confusion on her face was priceless. The audience erupted in laughter. I wanted to crawl into a hole and never come out, but then I realized that the laughter was actually kind of nice. Maybe this was my niche, being the comic relief in a tragic play. As the performance went on, I started to embrace the chaos. I threw in a few dramatic gestures that were more over-the-top soap opera than Shakespearean tragedy. I could see my drama teacher's face turning red with a mix of horror and disbelief. But hey, at least I was entertaining someone. By the end of the night, I had transformed from a nervous wreck into a full-blown diva, complete with exaggerated accents and wild hand movements. When the curtain finally fell, I took my bow, and the applause felt like a standing ovation at the Oscars. I may not have nailed the role of a tortured prince, but I had inadvertently created a new genre, tragic comedy, starring yours truly. I walked off that stage, sweaty but triumphant, and I realized that maybe, just maybe, the true art of performance wasn't about perfection. It was about embracing the absurdity, making mistakes, and laughing along the way. And honestly, isn't that what high school is all about?